When Jeremy woke up face down in mud and manure, he immediately suspected something had gone horribly wrong. The medieval peasant staring down at him with a pitchfork and a mouthful of missing teeth confirmed it. He sat up, groaned, and reached into his backpack, quickly realizing the impossibility of the situation. Jeremy had somehow time-traveled into the Dark Ages, armed only with a flashlight, a revolver, a bottle of Klein perfume, paracetamol penicillin capsules, and his smartphone, which, sadly, had only 47% battery remaining and exactly 0 signal bars. And Jeremy, ever the modern man, was pretty certain there weren't charging ports in 9th century England. The arrival or a welcome fit for a peasant. Jeremy rubbed his head and squinted against the harsh sunlight. The farmer, a grizzled man wearing layers of burlap that smelled suspiciously like fermented cabbage, nudged Jeremy with his pitchfork. "Art thou French?" He growled suspiciously. No," Jeremy replied cautiously. "I'm from New York. It's, across the ocean." The peasant stared blankly, then nodded. "French?" Jeremy sighed. This was going swimmingly. Carefully rising, he took stock. His clothes, a polyester blend hoodie and jeans, were filthy. He retrieved his backpack, noting with relief everything seemed intact. He glanced at his phone again. Still no bars. "Ye have strange garb, traveler." The peasant eyed him suspiciously. "Mayhap the art, a sorcerer." "Definitely not a sorcerer." Jeremy laughed nervously, unaware this denial immediately confirmed the farmer's suspicions. The magic torch or enlightenment comes with batteries. Word of Jeremy's odd appearance quickly spread, and within hours, he found himself hauled before a very skeptical local lord named Thielard. Thielard had a face like sour milk and a personality to match. "So, thou art French?" Thielard demanded. "No, not French," Jeremy groaned. "Then what manner of sorcery dost thou carry?" Jeremy scrambled for something impressive. He pulled out the flashlight, flicking it on dramatically. The court collectively gasped, as a beam of white light pierced the dim hall. "Behold," Jeremy announced theatrically, "I wield the torch of infinite enlightenment." Lethalrid's eyes widened. "Infinite enlightenment? Dost thou mock us?" "No, it banishes the dark, instantly." Thelard stroked his wispy beard thoughtfully. "Such magic could turn the tide against the Vikings. ... Vikings." Jeremy gulped. "Wait, what? Gunpowder diplomacy or 6 shots of medieval respect?" Now considered useful, Jeremy soon found himself dragged onto a battlefield. Viking warriors stood at the opposite end, screaming terrifying insults that, thankfully, Jeremy didn't understand. Lord Thelard pushed Jeremy forward. "Vanquish the heathens with thy magic." Jeremy hesitated, then drew the revolver. He aimed it skyward and fired one shot. The deafening bang echoed through the valley, and birds scattered in panic. Vikings, momentarily stunned, dropped their jaws. "He commands thunder," cried Thelard. "Flee the savage heathens." The Vikings seemed to reconsider their battle plans, muttering nervously. Jeremy felt a surge of triumph, until he noticed the revolver had only 5 bullets left, and he had no idea how long Vikings tended to stay scared. Perfume diplomacy or ode to sorcery. With newfound respect, Jeremy was given lavish chambers, meaning fewer rats than usual. Still, medieval hygiene quickly assaulted his nose. Unable to bear the stench any longer, Jeremy doused himself generously with Calvin Klein's finest. Later, Thelard sniffed suspiciously. "What magic is this heavenly scent?" "Oh, Jeremy improvised. "It's bottled charisma. Drives people wild." Thelard eyed the perfume greedily. Jeremy, sensing opportunity, gave him a spritz. The Lord's eyes glazed blissfully. "By St. Cuthbert's beard, with this sorcery, I shall woo any maiden." Jeremy's eyebrow twitched. He'd accidentally unleashed medieval England's first cologne craze. Medieval miracle pills, or the old Tylenol. Jeremy's reputation as a miracle worker grew. Unfortunately, so did demands on his powers. One morning, Thelard groaned dramatically. "I am plagued by the head pains." Jeremy sighed, pulling out paracetamol. "These pills banish pain. he proclaimed dramatically. Thethellard swallowed too skeptically. Within minutes, he stood straighter. The wizard speaks truth. Fetch me more. Soon, peasants lined up for Jeremy's magical pebbles. He felt like a medieval drug lord, handing out relief and marveling at how desperately humans needed aspirin even 1,000 years before its invention. Then he remembered he had only 20 pills left. The penicillin panic, or how to accidentally create a religion. Inevitably, a plague struck the village. Jeremy, feeling ethically obligated, handed penicillin capsules to the sickest villagers. Their miraculous recovery swiftly escalated Jeremy's reputation. A local priest, watching suspiciously, finally burst out, "The heal plague. Only saints perform such miracles." Jeremy gulped. Science, Saint Science, cheered the villagers. "Oh boy," Jeremy murmured, realizing he'd just accidentally founded a new medieval cult. Witch hunting season, or when battery dies, reputation dies. One evening, as Jeremy desperately rationed his dwindling supplies, his phone battery hit 1%. Villagers now viewed him as a near deity, expecting miracles daily. "Show us the light," they chanted excitedly. Reluctantly, Jeremy flicked his phone on. It lit briefly, then died completely. Gasps rippled through the crowd. His powers wane. The priest cried triumphantly, "See the false wizard revealed." Jeremy's heart sank. Anyone got a charger? Escape to a simpler time or horsepower versus angry mob. As villagers grabbed pitchforks, Jeremy sprinted away, hopping awkwardly onto the nearest horse. He'd never ridden anything larger than a bicycle. "Go, horse, go," he shouted, slapping its flank. The confused animal trotted lazily forward. Faster would be great, Jeremy pleaded desperately. Eventually, the horse broke into a reluctant gallop, villagers' angry shouts fading behind. Wizardly retirement, or happily ever after with sheep. After days of travel, Jeremy stumbled upon a quiet sheep-herding village far from Elfelrid's reach. He settled into an anonymous life, grateful for the mundane joys of medieval sheep farming. Occasionally, he performed small tricks with his empty revolver and perfume to entertain locals. And every night he carefully buried his backpack, vowing never again to meddle with magic or technology in the Dark Ages. As he lay in the straw, he chuckled wryly, realizing his smartphone had finally found its true purpose, a very flat medieval doorstop. Jeremy's tale of unintended sorcery became legend, whispered across taverns about a wizard from the land of New York who wielded thunder, magic pebbles, bottled charisma, and infinite enlightenment, but ultimately vanished, never seen again. Historians dismiss the tale as myth, but occasionally, when archaeologists unearthed strange, inexplicable artifacts, one couldn't help but wonder, what if? Enjoyed that bizarre rabbit hole? There's more where that came from. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Magnus for weekly drops of historical weirdness, science oddities, and truths stranger than fiction.